All right. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio podcast. Sorry. I'm your host, Charles. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Adam Ford. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm still on vacation. I still got vacation brain right now. So if I mess up a couple of times, don't even worry about it. It's all good.
Don't worry about it. Just let it be.
Just Just like this whole setup right now. I look like I'm on vacation time. Look, I'm held up somewhere or whatever.
Snowman action figure.
Whatever, man.
Yeah, Joe.
What's going on? Yeah, Cabo was nice. You know what I'm saying?
Man, that was funny because I had sent you that thing. You talking about it was fake. Because I promise you, I saw that a couple of times. And I was like, all right.
No, I mean, but usually we have good connections when it comes to that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Maria will hear. She actually, one of her sisters had sent her something. I think maybe a month or two ago, prior to us going, and
kind of warning, a little bit of warning,
Yeah, but it wasn't even anything because the whole situation was like nowhere near where we were going to be anyway. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing though. So every time I've gone to different countries, particularly Mexican countries, the military shows up, and you see them with their rifles walking around with their camouflage gear on and everything like that. So you can act like you're gonna come and do something, but nah, that ain't the way it's gonna wash out for real. So nah, the cartels know better than to mess with their tourism. That's all I got to say. The cartel, that's their one of their main streams of income, right? Streams of revenue is tourism. So you don't want to mess with the tourists that's coming there to spend their good American dollars in your country. You don't want to do that.
Wow. Yeah.
No, we had a good time though. It was nice. Nice little relaxing time. 8 days, just chilling or whatever like that. It was cool.
That was 8 days. Good. That was a long time.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, I figure if you're gonna go somewhere, stay there long enough till you miss home, till you want to come back home.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah, I mean, but that is a long time. Because, typically that week turnaround, you're like, all right. When it go past the 7 days, like, all right.
True.
It just depends on like your itinerary and what you got planned and all that.
Yeah. Like I said, we get there, we just chill, we just doing whatever we want to do. It ain't a whole lot of agendas or appointments, or because that's one of the things I don't do on vacation is I don't make appointments. I don't, I just take it as it comes. You know what I'm saying? Just chilling. Yeah.
All right, now, sir.
Trying to get somebody else to go on a vacation, but they.
Yeah, if I go, it's gonna be trouble. So.
It's always trouble.
Oh, no, it'll be fun. It's gonna be fun trouble. Hey, so all right. So today we going to talk about something a little different, still within the love realm, but here's where I'm coming from with this. Once upon a time, we would always everybody kind of was flexing their independence. The men, there was once upon a time, the men would be proud to say, I got my own car and my place and I got this kind of job. And then the women would do the same. I got my own this. I'm sufficient, independent, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I got to thinking, and just before I get into it, this week's topic is maintained. Is independence still relevant, or is being needed much, much easier to absorb? Is being needed much easier to absorb on tonight? Now, people are probably saying, "What do you mean?" Let me refresh people.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, what do you mean?
Refresh people's memory. I'm gonna give you a few scenarios. So we've all seen. I'm gonna start with the men. We've all seen men that may have been or may be successful or you may have looked at them on a high level. And then when it's Thanksgiving, they be like, oh, I wonder who's Ricky is bringing to Thanksgiving. And then Ricky will show up with the cute girl, but somebody will say, ain't that the girl that worked down at McDonald's? I'm just making a point. Right? So somebody will recognize her from a cashier or whatever, right? She got a job, She's just not high rolling, right? But he likes her.
Okay.
So men will be known to deal with the person that may not be on his level economically. And you might say, well, what's wrong with that? Here's where this ties into the show. Those same men, and I'm sure women can echo this. If you've ever been in a situation where the income bracket may have been a little lopsided, right? Mm-hmm. Not all men do this, but some men will take you in, love on you, you their girl, this is all of these things. And then when it hits the fan and you get to yakety and going against the grain, here is the famous line. I mean, don't forget where I found you, because you can go, I'll take you right on back. Listen, even the movie Pretty Woman, I love that movie, right? The movie Pretty Woman. Richard Gere, he couldn't drive his stick in his sports car. He rolls up on the block where the prostitutes are, right? Okay. He picks up Julia Roberts. The conversation goes, he takes her back. Somewhere in there, he starts to say, she's a little cute. She's a prostitute, but something a little different about her. So he decides she grows on him. He takes her in. He doesn't want her to leave. But check this. As good as that movie was and as good as the ending was, there was a part when they got into an argument. Oh, you mean like you do your other Johns? He had to give her a good check of reality. It was like, yeah, I'm here, but let me remind you where I met you. Now let's take it to the female side of the house. All right. We all talk about the times where we'll see the woman who has the good job, she has the good credit, she has the house, the condo, whatever that is. And she's dating the guy that might have something she likes, but he doesn't necessarily come economically and legally correct. And then what ends up happening is we make the jokes that we always talk about how the woman is at home. I mean, the woman is working, and while she's working, Donnell is on the couch playing PlayStation. I'm just making it. We talk about it. So I'm saying all that to say this is a reason for the season of bringing this up. And so the question today is, do we feel that in relationships, and let's just be honest about it, is it difficult to partner with someone who comes to you liking you and interested in you, but not needing you? They don't, because there are some people who they have stamped themselves, I'm an amazing man, I'm an amazing woman. Not because they made it to the point of being anybody's husband or wife, but because I'm good at doing things that I can meet the needs. If my man needs this, or if my lady needs that, I'm Johnny on the spot. I'm going to do this, that, and the other. And if those same people didn't need you, how would we feel? And when I say that didn't need you, I don't mean don't want to be with you, but they're self-sufficient. They don't need you. Let's just say if you're the type of person where you like, man, I go get my lady's laundry and make sure I'm gonna cook her food. Maybe she got a laundry service that comes already to her porch and picks up her stuff and delivers it. She already gives her, nowadays you can get those meals delivered to you. Right, I'm saying there's so many things now where people can just be self-sufficient. Right, but are we secure with that? Or do we need to be with the person that kind of can be like, baby, I would, but I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. I need this. And it kind of something about that, I need this, can make you, it can make you feel, it make you feel a little good. As long, now here's the kicker. I'm gonna turn it over to you. As long as the need doesn't come across like a use. See, that's the fine line. Okay. If you're really smart, you might be using somebody, but don't let them figure it out. It's supposed to be, you can be, I need you, but don't make it like no one. It's a fine line. People on the female and the male side will do things if you play your hand correctly. But if you are like, well, yeah, because I don't have, my phone bill and my rent, and it's like, look, all right, this is no longer about needing. This is about you identifying a fool. One of the two. So anyway, that's what I'm saying. So we talking about this today to say, listen, if we think really good about the people either we're with, have been with, or dating, is the dynamic lopsided? And are you comfortable in that lopsided? Go ahead. I'll turn it.
No, I mean, I've never really thought about this particular aspect of, I guess, relationships or dating people, whether or not somebody actually needs you, or if like you said, when you do satisfy or meet that need, you have a tendency to feel good, I guess, good about yourself and the fact that you were able to meet the need, satisfy the need. Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting thought, because I don't think we are, at least are consciously walking into potential relationships with that thought process in our head. Now, maybe later on, in terms of us having to deal with one another, we might come upon an instance where we're like, I need such and such, or I need them to do that, or can they do this for me? I suppose that's something that may occur, but what's interesting though, and I can only relate it to my own personal experience. It's okay. So on the one end, I have been the one who was needed in order to do things. I was the one that was needed. That's a fair statement to make. Yeah. And I believe that most of us can even attest to that fact, that at some point in time, and depending on the relationship that we were in, there was a point where we were needed for whatever reasons, whether it was an emotional need or a mental need, a financial need. Yeah. That there was something that was needed from us. Yeah. And I guess, okay, so I can say that I was needed in some regard, right? There were things that I supplied, that I provided for, in order for the other person to, be okay in terms of what was happening. And I think particularly when you get into relationships, and long-standing relationships, particularly with, engagements or even marriages, that is a dynamic where you find that hopefully there is equitability between both the spouses, right? Where we're both needing each other, where it's not a lopsided, I just need, and you don't need anything at all. That's signs of a dysfunctional dynamic, if you will, in terms of being able to be with one another. But and then I think for me too, also, there have been times when I've been with somebody and they did not need anything that I had. Didn't need anything. Wasn't even asking me. And here's the thing though, right, Charles? I'm sitting here trying to volunteer. I'm sitting there trying to, give up what I got. I'm trying to be like, I guess I'm trying to be, for whatever reasons, I'm trying to be the dependable good guy to say, hey, I can do this for you. I can do that for you. I guess in a way to make myself to seem more appealing. But the other person was like, nah, I'm good. Nope, I don't need nothing you got. Nope. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, at that point, right? I'm almost like, well, I don't know what to do, because in all my previous relationships, previous situationships, if you will, circumstances, I have been the one who has been needed. But now I'm on the other side of it where I'm not needed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm like, I'm not quite sure how to handle this. I'm not quite sure what to do, because the person doesn't need me in that way. They don't need me in that way. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And it's just it's a real interesting turn of events, if you will, that whereas at one point you were needed, now you're not needed. And for me personally, it kind of I was like a fish out of water, because all this time I had been the one supplying the need. Yeah. Now I'm not the one supplying the need anymore. So what am I supposed to do?
Well, here's the thing. This is the perfect segue. I mean, you're pretty much confirming the topic. And I'm saying that to say, I believe when we find ourselves in situations just like you explained, like you said, well, once upon a time I was, hey, are you gonna take care of that all
Right.
the time, or it wouldn't get done, right?
Right.
And it's not always a financial thing. It's
Right.
just being
Right.
needed.
Right.
And so, but when I think it causes us to come up higher when we meet people who are just don't want anything from us.
Mhm.
They just like being in your presence.
Okay.
And we don't have to look at it like there needs to be a tier of subservience to some degree in order to function. It
Right.
can just be, hey, you do fine what you do, I do fine what I do, and we don't have to tap inwardly and be like, well, I don't know how this is going to work out. Because what we really are saying, Adam, when we find ourselves in that kind of insecure mindset,
Uh-huh.
this isn't broken enough for me.
Okay. I get that.
We're saying I don't identify any crutch opportunities,
Yeah.
any I told you so and you better need me situations. It's like when we are meeting someone that presents a wholesome scenario where they're whole,
Mhm.
it causes you to look inwardly and be like, I'm just not used to functioning at this level.
Yeah.
But you should get used to it, right? And
Right.
so too many of us are too comfortable with it's like we have made this long lifestyle of relating and dealing and marrying people that at any given time we can crack the whip.
Mhm.
It's like that's really what's happening when I say crack the whip. It's like, let me remind you. Remember when you weren't always this. Remember when I first dated you, when I first saw you, when when you didn't have you were sleeping on your cousin couch, whatever your dynamic is, we like to be able to have a point of reference to check someone.
Okay.
When we shouldn't function like that. We should function in a celebratory way where, hey, I was fortunate enough to find someone who they may not be perfect, but we are good dynamic. No one person is pulling on the other one and making you feel guilty if you don't do this or show up for that or pay this or whatever. It's just it's looked at like whatever you do is a bonus on top of what they do,
Right.
not necessarily a necessity.
Right.
And I think too many of us are in relationships where we like to feel like there is a necessity. And I can be honest. Sometimes, just to your point, there has been times in my life where I might have dated someone kind of totally out of my field, if you will.
Mhm.
And I thought about it and I said, if we're honest with ourselves on tonight, Adam, just like in the Bible,
Here we go with the Bible.
people like if we tell the truth, and we ain't gonna voice this out loud, but to a degree, people like a dynamic where they can feel worshipped.
Hmm.
They like to feel like, oh my God, how was your day, Zaddy? I'm just making a point. No, I'm making a point. I'm just making a point. What I'm saying is, again, it could be a whole farce, but if you playing your hand right, the other person, all they see is the worship. So it is the same thing when you got the man who he comes together. Let's just say women can identify with me on tonight, where you might meet the guy who is. You look at him and say, I see potential on there. Nice looking guy. He just need a little TLC and a push from me. So you give him a pass, whereas in most cases you would have shot some men down, right? But you give him a pass, you take him in, and you keep his secrets until you help get him together. You take his resume, you talk to somebody in the mailroom, you do whatever you can to kind of help get him together.
Right.
And then you know how the mom would always say, don't buy the man no shoes, because when he get on his feet, he gonna keep them walking. But anyway, that's an old folks saying. But the point is, I'm saying that to say, a lot of times women, those same women who may have took on the quote unquote project man or the build-a-bear man, Tell me if I'm lying when I say sometimes when that man turns on the dime and becomes brand new, if you will, he's starting to feel it. So he's feeling better. You done helped him get himself together now. You done got him on his feet. So now when he's on his feet, he's thinking on his feet. His choices while he was on his back might not be the same choice on his feet, right? And so he chooses, he gets up and now he want to do something else. But the first thing we want to do is, your little raggedy self forgot where I done found you. Remember, you was homeless.
Yeah.
Just making a point. So this is why I'm reiterating, what is it about us that likes to have that dynamic to be able to pull that car rather than embracing, like you mentioned earlier, embracing the person who doesn't necessarily need you to make it, but would love to have you along for the ride.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So in that regards, you're actually quantifying the need as a means or a mechanism of leverage to exploit and manipulate the person who has the need.
Correct.
And unfortunately, you're right. A lot of times it's found in the dynamics of relationships that, one person will have a particular need. And here's the thing, though. The thing about needs is needs are something that they're essential for living and survival, right? What you need is something that is endemic to you. It is something that is basic. It's something that you have to have, just like you need water, you need air. Okay, these are things that you cannot do without. And so in some regards, people who use needs as leverage, they want to just manipulate you based on the need that you have.
Yeah.
And that's I think we can all readily agree that is something that is dysfunctional, right? You're going to literally weaponize the fact that I have a need for something and use it against me in order for you to get what you want to get from
me, yeah.
And that's never a good idea. That's not the ideal relationship, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And again, let me just go back and kind of lay this down so everybody understands that your need is something that is essential. It's not optional. You can't do without it. You know what's interesting? Wow. Interesting. I actually covered this in the book, but anyway, I'll just leave that there.
Okay.
I want you to understand. We're talking about needs. We're not talking about something that is an option. We're not talking about something that is an elective. We're talking about something that is it's something that is intrinsic to who you are as a person. Okay. And so when somebody comes along and wants to be in relationship with you and they're able to satisfy or meet that need, and then they want to turn around and use that need that you have as leverage to manipulate you, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a serious issue. And I sir, ma'am, hear me real good. I would take the time out now to reassess your relationship with that person, because they obviously do not have your best interest at heart.
So I'll be the advocate in this one. All right. Some people, I mean, while that is true what you're saying, the problem is some people don't readily identify what's in play, because 9 times out of 10, if you have a person that's comfortable liking the concept of you being down there and me up here, they have some insecurities.
Yeah.
And what makes those insecurities bearable is dynamics like this. Because the more bigger you are, the more you cast the light on what I'm not. So the smaller you are, I have time to adjust, and by the time you catch up to see what I'm not, I'm somewhere else, right? So go ahead, I'm sorry.
So let me say this then. In that regard, then that makes the person who is using your need as leverage as an unhealthy person. That person is obviously a deficient in terms of how they see themselves. Because let's be honest, let's be real, and let's talk like real adults here. I don't want somebody that's wholly dependent on me and I can't be dependent on them. That creates a dynamic that is out of balance, right? It's a dynamic where now I can only depend on you, but you don't depend on me for anything. That's not the way it's supposed to work.
But that is a reality. How many times have you seen people who all you hear them do is complain about what the other person needs from them, and then you give them the solution, and they be like, "I hear you, I hear you," and I remember saying, "But you're not doing nothing about it."
Right.
I gave you the solution, but you didn't do anything about it. So that tells me you like complaining about it, but you don't want to do anything about it.
Wow.
And so a lot of people are like that. They will get mad and say, "Oh my, Adam, I can't. I told them I got to work, and they talk about what they need at home. Lord, have mercy." As soon as they get off, they shoot right on home to address it. So my point is, it's like sometimes it's like us feeling like we have to be needed can be looked at, like you said, as very unhealthy.
Yes.
Because you should be needed as a partnership to make it work.
Right.
But not needed to say, if I don't do this, this is probably not going to work right. You know, if I don't come to the Adam's aid, he going to fall apart as a man. Right. You should never think that, but that's how we feel. You understand what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. Here's the other side of this whole this idea, or rather the concept of need, right? In terms of being in other people's lives. And I think sometimes we don't often look at it this way, or we do look at it this way. We kind of like discard it, but I think it's something that we really need to consider, is that the fact that if I'm always meeting your need and providing for your need and doing for you what you need in your life, what is essential in your life, the reality is that now I'm going to be operating at a deficiency. I'm going to be operating, not as full as I should be, because always meeting somebody else's need is draining. Let's be real. Always meeting somebody else's need is going to be a draining thing. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. The bad thing comes in where there is no replenishment of what you've given out. And that all you do is give out. Well, after a while, you're going to run dry because you're not a limitless resource. You're not unlimited in what you can give out. Okay? And so you need to understand and realize that whoever's taking advantage of you in terms of you supplying their need, and if there isn't some type of replenishment or refreshment that's taking place, then you're going to be run dry after a while. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be able to continue to sustain that type of dynamic with a person forever, because you're a limited resource. Okay. And that's the truth of the matter. So at some point in time, when do you get paid back? At some point in time, when do you get replenished? When do you receive for yourself if you're always supplying the need?
So, okay, let's look at it this way. It's really simple as this. If you decide, so let me straighten this up before I say this. I don't want anybody to misconstrue.
Too late.
People are who they are, where they are in life. Good, bad, broke, rich, indifferent. That's what it is, right? Some people can't help their situation. Mm-hmm. But if you choose, like let's just say, if you making a great grip of money, your person is not nowhere at all near you.
Okay.
The reality is, whether you want to accept it or not, you are always looked at as the deferred. It's just a fact. When you accept framework, the framework never changes unless the person evolves. If they don't evolve, it's going to always be, well, I mean, how many times have we heard this? Well, I don't make as much as you. That's your answer right there. I know you coming to eat for you know how much I make. And to be honest, they're true. That's true.
Right.
You chose them where they were.
Right.
And so, no, regardless of the storms and the seasons that come in the marriage or the relationship, you did choose them.
Mhm.
So when you choose them, wherever you get chose from is where people they're going to hang their hat from forever and a day. If you were the rich man or the rich woman, they're going to look at you as the answer to their problem.
Mhm.
You the answer. I'm the lack. You the answer. So I'm going to lean on you all the time because remember, I work down at that post office. I only work but 40 hours. I don't make that much money. You do. So it's like, and it's an uncomfortable dynamic because depending on the situation, let's just say the person's family even is the same way. Family really not grossing or none of those kind of things, right? So
Right.
what that means is Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever the situation is. My Uncle Joe said, can he borrow $500? That's your plight. Whether it's the female or the male, when you choose situations, you have to deal with the lack. If you choose the lack, you're going to deal with the ramifications of the lack. That's just what it is. People are going to lean on you. The problem, what we're talking about today is why are we comfortable wanting a dynamic where we feel like we the big kahuna? Why can't we be challenged to come up higher, to do better by meeting someone that's like, wow, I admire what you do, and then make you come get yourself together to step up. You understand what I'm saying?
So okay. So on two regards, let me say this before I lose my thought real quick.
Okay.
I in that regard, and again, I'll pull from my own personal experience. I really do believe, particularly when it comes to needs like that there should be a conversation, an open, transparent, honest conversation between both parties, where we're laying all of our things, whatever they might be, on the table, so that everybody knows what we're walking into this situation with. So I'm walking in with what I have. I'm walking in with pluses and minuses. I'm walking in with assets and liabilities. But so is the other person, right? They're also walking in with pluses and minuses. They're also walking in with assets and liabilities. And it's important that we understand what all of our liabilities and assets are so that we can be clear as to what needs to be met. You know what I'm saying? So that I'm not walking into a situation where everything that I have is being drained. But neither are you walking into a situation where you're going, well, he took everything that I had and I don't have anything left. So there has to be clear communication with this. And I think often what happens is when we get into relationships, that's not what we're doing. We're not having clear communication as to what liabilities and assets we have. We're not being clear on needs. We're just assuming that the other person knows, you know what I'm saying? But we're not really being clear as to what we actually should be having.
And a lot of times we're not being clear because we're not being honest that we enjoy the celebratory aspect of being needed. Because see, it feels good while you can handle what's being delved out. It doesn't feel good when it becomes too much and it becomes taxing. Now you are resenting what you once admired. And so we're not honest about that. But when we meet people and when we got it like that, and when it's good, you like to feel like, oh, I know you rolling. It feels good. But when it gets to a point where it becomes taxing, whether it's emotional, because I have found on tonight, Adam, that being able to help someone out with emotional finances is just as taxing as financial finances.
Yeah.
Like, I think in my younger years, I mean, did you see people get mad or have emotional this, that, and other. But it's nothing like when you get a little more seasoned in life and people have a little more life under their belt. So when they choose to let that out, it comes out and like, wow. So it's like everybody has different things. And so you really got to be in tune with people to be able to afford their emotions.
Okay.
Because emotions are expensive. So you just got to know how to afford it.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
they
I'm telling you.
You ain't
Yeah.
lying. Yeah. No, but I think, you know, so here's the thing about the whole need thing, right? And all of us have them. All of us have needs or whatever like that. I don't think it's a good idea for anybody to be in a relationship with somebody and make that person who may need what this other person is offering to make them feel less than, to make them feel like they can't do without what I do for you. Nobody can do what I do for you. That's never a good idea, because of the fact that then now you're putting yourself on a pedestal as to say, well, in some regards, I'm superior to you.
That's my point. That's
I'm better than you. You know what I'm saying? I've never had that desire. And I think if you are a healthy person, if you're a healthy person and a whole person, and you have the right amount of, I guess, self-esteem and self-image, and if you have those things, then you're never going to want to be that person who lords over somebody else. Because that's I don't need slaves.
Wow.
I don't want a slave as a partner. Come on, y'all. Come on, help somebody. I don't want to have to. That's not I don't want a slave master relationship. But I think, Charles, if we're honest, some of us do. Some of us go into relationships wanting to be, quote unquote, the master. You know what I'm saying? We want to lord over the other person. We want to use whatever their need is, again, as leverage to manipulate them and exploit them for whatever it is that we want. But here's the thing, though. A healthy person doesn't want a slave. I don't want a slave. I want a person who is autonomous, who can think for themselves, who can operate under their own agency, who can do for themselves. And here's the thing, though, Charles, watch this. I want a person who actually might not need me. But I do want a person.
No, I'm just playing. You can leave. No, I'm just playing. Go.
I want a person who actually wants me, right?
Yeah.
And that's the flip side of that we really haven't addressed yet. I don't really want to get too far into that. But I want a person who actually wants me. Now, here's the thing, though. The further we go into the relationship, we begin to realize there are certain things that this person possesses that we begin to realize, hey, I need that. I need that part of you, that aspect of you. You're actually satisfying something in me that I did not realize that I needed in my life. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? But on the same end of that, it is something I actually do want you. Okay, you know what I'm saying? And it's something that I hope that you want as well. So there ought to be a dynamic wherein we are both needing each other, okay? And we're not trying to abuse each other in terms of the need that we have, that I'm not walking into this relationship wanting a slave. You know what? Let's
stay right there. I'm gonna go swim when you get done.
Really feel like, in sense, that people don't want a partner. They don't want a partner when it comes to relationships. They want a slave. I want to tell you what to do, when to do it, how to do it, how long to do it. You know what I'm saying? I just want to be your boss. That's all I want. I don't want a partner. I don't want somebody, watch this, who's on equal standing with me. I don't want somebody who can do the same thing I do, or maybe do it even better than I can do it. I want a slave. And that is so jacked up, man. That's so jacked up.
Here's the dynamic of the slave part where I'm talking about. I feel many people probably get stuck in the slave desiring mindset Because the thing about slavery that slave owners liked most is their slaves were always indebted to them.
Yes.
And if you're indebted to me, there's something about being in debt that makes the person wanting them to be in debt feel like now you don't have no choice but to be loyal.
Yeah.
So loyalty is a relationship characteristic, right? A big one. So the way you get there through slavery isn't the right way, right? But it's a concept that makes me almost feel like I'm getting what I want. Because if I can establish this slave kind of mentality where I'm lording over you, and if I'm doing all of these things and making your life comfortable and putting you in school, you're indebted to me. And some people will, that's all they ever need is to have a lifetime of ammunition of you owe me. Some people will be married to people for years and tell them, and still when an argument come up, yeah, I hear you, but you owe me. So that's a people look at it as a form of loyalty, like that person. They think about when we say to each other or people around us in our circles when we have fallen out. Oh, they ain't going nowhere.
Right.
Even your family members will even say it. Like let's just say, Adam, if you got a family member over here, and I might be like, "Did you just hear what happened with Maria and him? Oh, he ain't going nowhere." And you'd be like, "What do you mean?" It's like everybody knows the dynamic, right? So that's crazy. So yeah,
it's totally crazy, man. And again, I especially nowadays with what we have going on in the world and social media, I have no patience for the idea that I'm better than everybody else. This narcissistic, self-grandizing notion that I am superior to all others and there's no one better than me. That is so that's so crazy and ridiculous. And again, my thing is, who wants to marry a slave in terms of the dynamic that we have between one another? I want to be in a relationship with somebody who is subservient to me. Now, let me make something very clear here. I want us to understand that the true beauty of a relationship is the fact that we serve one another.
Right.
We're not slaves to one another.
Wow.
But we serve one another. Can I take this even further? The true beauty is the fact that not only do we serve one another, but we are submitted to one another. That's the difference between being a slave and being a partner with somebody. Because in terms of being a partner, we both have equal vested interest in the success of this relationship, which means we serve each other in terms of what we do. We are submitted to one another. Okay. A slave doesn't have the right amount of a slave is never on the same level as a master is.
Wow.
Never. Never. And why would you want to be with a slave? It doesn't make any sense to me.
They love, that's why they went over there at nighttime. It was fun. But anyway, so no.
Y'all need to get your boy. Get your boy. Y'all get him. He need a vacation or something.
The slave master said, "I'm tired of being in here with Mary. I'm going over there with Keisha." But anyway, all right. But yeah, man, but real talk. Listen, you're hitting it on the nail. It's like if we're looking at it this way, it should make us evaluate how we are looking at these things. Because I honestly think, and the reason I'm coming at it this way, because I know there are some people that deliberately enjoy that dynamic that way. But there are some people who don't realize what the kind of like the dynamic or the environment that they created.
Right.
They have been the nice person and okay and all right. And if you're the person with the means whatever those means are. If you're strong emotionally and you can carry this person, if you're strong financially, you can carry this person or whomever. And if you're always being the yes person and okay, then subconsciously by default, you become the master, right? And you got your little slave right there. And it's like, so you have your dynamic that grows and grows until you say, hey, wait, let me assess this and see, is this a balanced dynamic or is it one-sided? Because like you said, if you're always doing the giving and never receiving, then this is not this ain't gonna work for the long haul.
Because eventually the one who's always giving is going to burn out.
Yeah.
They're going to burn out, they're going to run out.
Yeah.
They're no longer going to be able to have anything to give because they're always giving out. You know what I'm saying? And again, I don't. As for me in my house, as I've said in the past, I don't want a slave. You know what I'm saying? I want somebody who's on the same level with me. And I'm not talking about just finances. I'm talking about intellectually. I'm talking about emotionally. I'm talking about spiritually. I'm talking about socially. I want somebody who's with me every step of the way. You know what I'm saying? Because let me ask this question. And I'm just curious as to what the answer is going to be. So if I'm a master and I have a slave, do I ever feel like I have somebody who has my back? Or do I always have to look at my back to make sure the slave ain't trying to kill me?
Yeah, because you know the slave is resentful.
Yes.
You better.
The slave doesn't want to be a slave.
Yeah.
The slave wants to be free. But we have captured these people in our lives and we've made them serve us without any type of recompense, without any type of something, some payment. You know what I'm saying? We've made them slaves in terms of what we do and who we are as people. And we're pulling from them all day long, all night long. We're pulling from them. After a while, that slave is going to rebel against his master. Not only will the slave run away, but in order for the slave not to be recaptured, that slave might end up killing that master at the end of the day. So masters, you better watch your back.
Let's twist it. Let's twist it just a little bit. Now, if we dig back into the slavery days and all the
how are we going here today? But anyway,
the depictions we've seen, not all the slaves didn't enjoy being at the big house.
Okay.
Some of them are there. They were there because they saw benefits in being there. I'm close enough to the house. The mother liked me. She give me a little more pie than the others. I get to come in the house. So I'm saying that to say some people are with people that recognize who you are, but they're okay with it because they are benefiting and they're receiving from you. And some of them, they don't see their lives going past where you are.
Wow.
So they feel like I'm going to make a living right here, living off of them. Yeah. And so there's some smart slaves. Not all the slave masters are running it. Some slaves is running the master.
Yeah.
No mistake about it.
Yeah. No mistake about that at all, man. Again, I think we need to take a moment to kind of realize and like I said, assess what the dynamic of our relationships are with people, right?
Yeah.
Because I believe that some of us will find ourselves in that slave master dynamic. You know what I'm saying? That, as the slave, I'm doing all this giving. You know what I'm saying? While the master's receiving all the benefit from it, while the slave receives no benefit whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? And to be able to recognize, well, maybe I need to just run. Take the shackles off my feet so I can run out of here. You know what I'm saying? Because this is not working. Because a real relationship, a healthy relationship benefits both parties that are participating in it. So it ain't just about me getting my needs satisfied. It's not just about them or her getting her needs satisfied, but it's about the both of us getting all of our needs met. based on the relationship that we have with one another.
So the person, quote unquote, that may be the underwhelming partner, if you will, okay, whatever, because that could be relevant to how you look at it.
Yeah.
They need to ask themselves, am I in love or am I in need? You gotta ask the person that's the underwhelming person.
Yeah.
They gotta say, am I in love or am I in need?
Right.
And the quote unquote master needs to ask themselves, do I desire to be loved or do I desire to be needed? And both of them gets their answer like that. You got to say to yourself,
Yes.
in whatever you're in today, you
Yeah.
got to say, am I in love with this person? Or am I just in that grave of need?
Yeah.
And then the person who's willing all of the means and the money and the credit, you got to say, is this something do I get a joy out of seeing someone squirm because I have the answer?
Right.
Or do I just want to be loved legitimately? Forget about what you don't have and what I have. I just want to be loved. And so we have to ask ourselves that question. What am I looking for? Love or to feel needed? Because they're two different things.
Yeah.
Because we may mistake them to look the same, but they're not.
Yeah.
Someone needing to be loved and someone needing to be needed are two separate things. Your friends can need you to be the fifth player on the basketball team. I can need you to help me run this church.
Yeah.
But that had nothing to do with romance, right? They're two different things. So we got to be able to say, what is it that I'm looking for? And that, like I said, that person that's in the position where they're always, quote unquote, benefiting, if you're comfortable and always benefiting, you got to say again, am I in love with this person? Or am I just in that much of need in my life that I can't see no different? Right. And you got to go from there, because I think that's the answer to it. The bottom line of all this we said today, this comes down to them questions. If you can answer honestly where you are, because some people, when you smothered by need, you can say you love and all this, but you so overcome with need that whatever is going to be extended to you, thank you, okay, thank you. You understand what I'm saying? Because you're such a need, and it can swallow up the love because you're in so much need. So, you got to be honest with ourselves.
No, you're absolutely right about that. And so let me just take that further too, because I think often when it comes to this idea of being in need and then being needed, it kind of goes to the fact that when we are looking for somebody to be in our lives, I guess the question we should be asking is, are we only looking for people who are in need? Are we only looking for people who are less than us? Are we only looking for people that are already broken so that we can come in, sweep in like a superhero, sweep them off their feet, and be the only one for them? Wow. And I think when we think about it, if I'm only looking for a person in need so I can supply their need, is that necessarily the best thing? Wow. Because you're only used to operating with people who need you. You only want to be with people who actually need you. But what if they don't need you? What if they are something? It's funny because I remember me and you having this conversation a while ago. This was like years ago, Charles. Yeah. And it had to do with the idea of being with somebody who only knew how to be with broken people. Because the moment you get whole, the moment you no longer have a need, they no longer have a place in your life. They no longer have anywhere to occupy. They no longer have nothing to do, right? Yeah. But as long as you have a need, as long as you're broken, they want to be right there to bandage you up and to make you feel good. It's really messed up in the worst possible way, because you don't want to deal with a whole person. You don't want to deal with a person who may not necessarily have a need. You only want to deal with people who are sick and who are broken, who are messed up. And here's the thing though, you don't really want to help them. You you just want to see. It would be different if you wanted to help them. It would be different if you wanted to actually come alongside them to support them and to help them get out of the brokenness and the neediness that they have. But you want to keep them where they are. I don't want to really deal with this.
But you know what that says, but that's because in most cases, if people are honest, they know a lot of times your oppressor, if you will, we don't get away from this slave stuff. But anyway, the oppressor sees more in you than you. And so this is why people don't help, because they know if I help this person get up and out, they're not going to see me as a need no more.
Right.
They see themselves as self-sufficient. And I'm going to be honest with you. In most cases, that's how it happens. And that's because you both met with a need in mind. The person who was struggling in college, waiting tables, here you come, the Mr. Self-Sufficient or Miss Self-Sufficient comes along and connects with them. So at the moment, it's beneficial for that person that's trying to come up. And you that may have already been in your success, you find it attractive because someone is making you feel adorned and you like how it feels.
Right.
But when that person grows out of that state and was like, I really appreciate you, you was really there for me, but you still love me though, right? I do, but I got to go over there. And now it's like, wait, now the reality of it was this love or was this a need? Or a transactional need? And once it's met, people tend to move on. This is why I always say, before you say I do, you need to see what a person will do when they have everything they want. Because what they do when they don't is two different things when they do. When they do, they're level-headed, they're happy, the dopamine is on 1,000, and they got money in their pocket, they have means, they done built their credit up. I'm great. Now I'm thinking level-headed. But when I'm full of lack, the first bus come along with some water, I'm jumping on it. So that don't mean you found your love. It just means you found your convenient train. So we got to be real with ourselves when it comes to that,
No, that's absolutely right. And again, I'm really kind of stuck on the idea and the fact that a lot of us are in relationships with people who don't know how to deal with us when we're not needing them or whole.
That's
it's a crazy thing to be with somebody who only wants to be in your life because you're messed up.
Wow.
It's a crazy thing for somebody to be in your life only because you're jacked up. And the more jacked up you are, the more attractive you are to them.
Wow.
Because they don't have any type of a frame of reference as to how to deal with a healthy person. With a whole person. With a person who may not necessarily need them, but wants them in their life. They don't know how to deal with a person who is balanced, who is functional. They just want to deal with people with all the dysfunction and the issues and the deficiencies. And again, understand, none of us are perfect. All of us have problems. All of us have issues. But to the point where we are only wanting to deal with those who are so debilitated within themselves. Oh, I can come into his life and I can do all this stuff and I can fix him up and I can do all this for him. You know what I'm saying? But you only want to be with him as long as he's dysfunctional, as long as he can't do for himself.
Because it goes back to what I said about when you see that person that's broken, you see an opportunity for worship.
True enough.
That's what you see. The broken person is going to be like, they're going to glean and smile up at you while you shining because they wish they could be where you are, but they're not. But they'll accept the seat that you give them in your life.
Right.
And that's the worship seat. And 9 times out of 10, you're the person benefiting from it, from that side of it, and they're benefited from your lifestyle.
Right.
So, we gotta be for real. Like the next time people make these quote unquote love connections that we call them, you gotta say to yourself, Is this a, hey, look, we quick to say what a balanced meal isn't or is not. Like today, we the most nutritional woke people ever nowadays. Nowadays, we so, wait a minute, what does my sugar say? All these things, you're like, what in the world? Once upon a time, we did whatever, ate whatever. Nowadays, it is everybody is this, that, and the other. So
Right.
just like you can assess that, assess your relationship.
Yeah.
And say, is this a desire or is it a need?
Yeah.
And make this and be honest with yourself, because if it's not the real love, then it's not going to give you the real outcome you're looking for.
No, it's not.
So, yeah.
And again, I just want to reiterate too about the whole idea of having wants. I believe that that the person who is in my life, not only do I need them, and not only do they satisfy the needs that I have in my life, but it's also that I want them.
Mm.
And I think sometimes we have a tendency to we kind of mess up the whole idea of needs and wants, because often we confuse the two.
Yeah, we do.
You know, we confuse a want with a need, and then we confuse a need with a want, not really understanding to be able to distinguish the difference between the two. Because in all reality, we all have needs, but we also all have wants.
That's true.
And it's important that we learn the balance between the two, that they work complementary with each other. So not only do I need my wife, but I also want my wife. Not only does she supply the needs that I have, but she also satisfies the wants that I have. And it's not until we really get clear with these notions and these ideas are we able to make a more educated, informed decision about who we want to spend our lives with. Because if all you're motivated by is just the fact that you have a need and I can meet that need, well, where is the want at? Do you want me or do you just need me? Because if you just need me, then I'm just like a bill, right? I'm a utility.
Wow. That's it.
You know what I'm saying? But then at the same time, it can't just be want. Because if you just get what you want, and a lot of times
appreciate another.
We don't. You know what I'm saying? We don't even recognize that. You know what I'm saying? So it has to be that we are able to distinguish the need from the want, but also there needs to be a marriage between the two. There needs to be a marriage between need and want. Okay. So it's not either or, it's both and.
Agreed. That's good. Yeah, well, hey, we don't need to go a little further than that on tonight. Just, to tell the people again, let's start working the exercise of being content with people where they are. And even if they're matching where you are, even if they're exceeding you, let's not just look for the dynamic of someone needing us. Because that's just a breeding ground for constant insecurity, insufficiency. You feel anxiety. You just don't want to deal with all that. Just be well with you, and you can be well with others. All right. On tonight. Appreciate you guys again for watching Unique Perspectives Love Talk podcast, where today we talked about the need. It's hard. Are we allowing our needs to snuff out the true love that we are looking for? Because the two really, it sounds like what we discovered in the show, Adam, is the two don't really coexist. You got to work out your need first before you can really delve into your love.
True.
So, we'll get furthermore on this. And again, next week, should the life tarry, we will be back here again next week, same time. 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right. Yeah, we got to bring up church words. Yeah, Terry.
Who said that?
Terry. Don't act like when we was kids, we didn't have to go to the Terry room.
My grandma would say, as long willing and the creek don't rise.
Yeah, that's it. Lord's willing. That's all those kind of sayings. Lord's willing and all this.
Don't
You be like, man.
Okay, just do the outro, bro. Do the outro.
Right. We dating ourselves back too far, but all right.
God.
All right. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next time. All right. Well, and such is life. I'm not going to act.
You sure? I feel like you about to do it though, but okay. So
Yeah, let's see. Here we go.
See. Here we go.
You know, if there's no need, Adam, there's no purpose. If you don't need nothing, I ain't got nothing. I'll holler at you. Now, just let me do it.
Wow. Way to go, Ratchet. Way to go, Ratchet with that, bro.
And that's for the people in the back. They like, look, I need to be needed, or I'm not going to be here. People like to feel like, so a part of being needed, and we didn't talk about this in the show, but a part of being needed is people saying, I need you to respect it. I've arrived at this place. So I'm playing this role in your life, but I need you to respect the fact that I gave you access to live in this way with me. Okay. And they want you to show them appreciation through this adoration. So that's what it is. All right, on tonight. I had to keep. All right. Yeah. All things good? Everything's straight, sir?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Like I said, I got to get back into the daggone routine of life. I've been gone. Yeah. I feel like I've been gone forever. Not forever, but I got to get back to the routine. So, yeah.
All right. We'll talk about it, sir.
Maybe. All right, y'all. Peace. Have a good weekend.
All right.